If you are watching this video, do not leave before the end. Today you will step into one of the oldest mysteries of the universe, the moment when the most radiant light ever created chose to face its own darkness. Let every word reach your heart. The fall of Lucifer is not just history. It is a mirror revealing the silent danger of pride. Surrounded by glory, he allowed a whisper of vanity to grow within him. At first, that whisper seemed harmless, like a fleeting shadow leaving no trace. Yet inside Lucifer, something slowly twisted the radiance that once made him unique. He no longer gazed at the greatness of God. He longed to rise above all. Heaven still sang, but his heart no longer followed. And in that silent shift, the fall was born, reshaping forever the balance between light and darkness. While the angels bowed in worship, Lucifer slowly drifted from the center of the divine presence as one carrying a secret far too heavy to confess. He gazed at the throne, feeling a glory that was not his calling to him, like a distant echo. And there, vanity found room to grow. What had once been pure gratitude became ambition, and the beauty God had given him turned into the stage of his own corruption. With every thought of self-exaltation, Lucifer drifted a little farther from the truth. He still shone, but his light no longer reflected the Creator. It reflected only himself. Heaven sensed the change, like noticing a subtle shift in a perfect melody. The eternal harmony began to fracture, and in that uneasy silence, pride slowly turned into rebellion, preparing the moment when light would choose to fall. Lucifer began to draw countless eyes. His voice grew soft and persuasive, his radiance captivating in ways few could resist. Many angels admired him, unaware of the poison carefully hidden beneath each graceful word. He spoke of new paths, of freedom, of a kingdom where all would rise in power. But none of it was true, only pride disguised as promise. And as more hearts leaned toward him, heaven felt the weight of a lie growing far too fast. The throne watched every unfolding moment. God saw each movement, each whisper, each hidden intention awakening within Lucifer's heart. Yet the Creator does not remove freedom. He reveals character through it. And as Lucifer grew louder, bolder, more confident, heaven slowly split between truth and deception. A third of the angels leaned toward his voice, unaware they were being gently drawn away from the very light that had sustained them since the beginning. When the rebellion grew in force, heaven was no longer the same. Hearts once pure now carried deep shadows of doubt, and Lucifer's words spread like fire racing across dry fields. Michael, guardian of divine order, felt the rising weight of the threat and stood firm to defend the glory of God. The celestial realm split into two paths, the path of loyalty to the Creator and the alluring promise of greatness without obedience. The decisive moment drew near. All of heaven seemed to hold its breath, as Lucifer, consumed by a pride he could no longer hide, proclaimed his desire to rise above the stars and seize the place of the Most High. His words rolled through heaven like forbidden thunder, tearing apart the peace that had ruled since creation. There, before the eternal throne, the brightest light slowly, tragically, became the darkness it chose to embrace. When those words were spoken, heaven trembled, not from lack of power, but from the sorrow of seeing a heart created for light choose to turn away from it. Michael stepped forward, not in hatred, but in divine authority, declaring that there would be no room for darkness in the perfect kingdom of God. The battle was not merely physical, it was spiritual, moral, eternal. The clash between truth and the lie that dared to rise. The conflict took form, slowly, intensely. Rays of glory tore across the heavens as faithful angels rose to stand beside Michael. The rebellion, now unveiled, showed how far Lucifer had fallen. He no longer craved only power. He longed for a kingdom without God. Heaven itself became a battlefield, each strike carrying the weight of eternity. It was the war that would shape the destiny of countless generations. The battle echoed like ancient thunder rolling across eternity. each strike carrying deep unseen truths. Michael did not fight for his own glory. He fought for the name that sustains all creation. Lucifer, swallowed by rising ambition, could no longer recognize who he had once been. His radiant light had faded into shadow, his melodic voice now sharpened by fury. At the heart of this vast clash, the universe witnessed the heavy cost of pride that refuses to bow. Then, in a moment that seemed to split eternity itself, the voice of God rose above the entire war, firm, undeniable, absolute, unshakable. There was no room left for doubt. The sentence was established, and the light that chose to abandon truth lost the right to remain in heaven. Lucifer and the angels who followed him were cast out, falling like stars torn violently from the sky. The rebellion reached its inevitable end. The fall was not only an act of justice, it was an eternal warning. The pride that brought Lucifer down is the same pride that tries to find shelter inside the human heart. It approaches slowly, disguised as self-sufficiency, praise, recognition. But when we fail to watch, it becomes distance from God. The story of the fallen angel reminds us that even the brightest light can fade when it chooses to walk far from the Creator. The fall of Lucifer also reveals something precious. God never forces anyone to remain at his side. True love always gives room for choice. And every decision we make, every word, every gesture, every hidden thought, builds a path that draws us nearer to his presence or quietly leads us away. The rebellion began with a single desire, turned in the wrong direction. And that is still how the enemy works. Slowly, until we no longer notice the distance we created. But the story does not end with the fall. It reminds us that even when evil rises, God remains fully sovereign. Nothing shakes his throne. Nothing ever surprises the Creator. And if he held the heavens firm during the first rebellion, he also holds you steady in the unseen battles you face each day. The same voice that drove out darkness from the heights can sweep the shadows from your heart, restoring what you thought was lost forever. The fall of Lucifer is an invitation to examine the soul. Where is pride trying to enter? Where is vanity trying to speak louder than obedience? God does not seek perfection, he seeks surrender. When we acknowledge our dependence on him, light returns to places once covered in shadow. And unlike Lucifer, we are called not to fall, but to return, to begin again, and to remain in the grace that sustains us each day. If you have come this far, let this truth rest in your heart. The fall of Lucifer shows the danger of pride, but also reveals the beauty of faithfulness. Always choose the light. Walk with God, even when everything feels dark. He remains in control. If this story touched your heart, share it. Someone out there needs to remember that God still makes the impossible happen.